Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another chapter in our Amazon Seller Journey series. We're getting back on the ball with them, and I am joined by Hollie and Louis, the FBA couple. And to be honest, ever since I got to know them, I wanted them to come on and do one of these sessions with me. So this is kind of like a mini dream fulfilled. Thank you very much, guys, for joining me. Please, would you just like to give a little introduction to you, and what you're all about?
Yeah, absolutely. Take it away, Holly. Go on.
Well, I'm Holly. I'm 22 years old, and obviously we run the FBA business together. Um, Aside from the FBA, I'm still at university studying medicine, and I'm in the final year of that, due to finish in a few months.
Yeah, my name's Louis. I'm 24. I also run the Amazon company. Started in e-commerce maybe 2 years ago, was it now? Did a degree in maths and then yeah, just completely sidetracked it and went into e-commerce instead. So yeah, good.
Does the degree in maths come in useful at any point? I mean, I suck at
Yeah, definitely. For all the data analytics, it's very, very useful for that sort of stuff.
Yeah, you do all the all the admin side and the math side, don't you?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, yeah. It's quite nice to have like two people working on the business because
Yeah,
Holly's a lot more like creative than I am. So
yeah.
particularly for like the models that we do now, it's good to have someone creative and then someone more on the data side, I suppose. So yeah.
I mean, it's good to have that dynamic because I mean that's why people get into like business partnerships and such. But you've got a relationship and a partnership like all in one, so like
Yeah.
that's awesome. So yeah, it's great to have these different skill sets that you can bring to it. So I guess we'll start like right from the beginning. Would you mind just talking a little bit about how you got into the whole e-commerce world, how you got into selling on Amazon, like where it all started?
Yeah, absolutely. So I left university and then I applied for a job to stay up in Sheffield, which is where we're based. And I started working for a small, like an e-commerce company. And I was doing all the sort of like accounts for them and everything like that. And then, long story short, somebody very quickly left the business who was running all the like Amazon Vendor Central side of things.
Hmm.
So they then quickly said to me like, "Oh, you know what you're doing with the data? Can you just like learn from her for a week on how to do it?" So learned all the Amazon vendor stuff. We'd done seller and all that sort of stuff. I'd seen loads online from like two big creators at the time. I think it was Jack's Amazon Club and Jats Naran were the two biggest people I saw talking about it. But I was kind of just like, it seemed a bit like a scam. So I just
Yeah.
didn't do anything about it for 2 years, left it. And then obviously we were together at the time, and I was like, oh, do you know what? Like, I've got the itch to start this business. Like, let's just give it a go. And then because it's nice having two people, it was kind of like, do you think it'll work? And she was like, well, if you think it'll work, I think it's work. And then, but like, potentially none of us thought it'd work, but we were both like, yeah, if the other person thinks it's fine. And that was the rest was history after that.
Mhm.
Do you want to talk about like what we did at the start, like how, getting into it and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, we basically just started with arbitrage. I
Yeah.
mean, like Louis said, I kind of fell in the deep end. I hadn't really seen FBA at all. You came up to me and said, "Do you want to start a business with me?" And I thought, yeah, that sounds fun. On top of, the uni degree that I'm currently doing. So we started with arbitrage. We did retail and online arbitrage. I think our first product was like a set of pans. I think there were six pans in a box. So
Yeah.
you took all the pans out separately, we bubble wrapped them and then sent them off to sell on the individual listings. And I think we sold each pan individually for about £18, but
Yeah.
the set of six cost, I think it was like 28,
Yeah, it
wasn't
was
it?
like 28 quid for £6, and we sold the yeah each for like 18 quid a pound.
Yeah. So I think our first product, we were like, wow, this is easy.
We were like, this is great. I mean, to be fair, it did take a couple of weeks of like just doing some sourcing in the background and stuff like that. We also got a coffee machine, didn't we? We picked up both of those deals at Asda. Actually, that was the first place we ever did it, wasn't
Yeah.
it? But yeah, we that was when we first ever started with BuyBotPro, though, wasn't it? Straight away. That was on the two
Yeah.
week two week back in the time. It was 2 week free trial. We
Yeah.
were like, right, let's just get on it every day after work. We're just having a look at these deals. Here they were, and then we were like, right, let's do it. Let's just try it. Why not?
Yeah. We used to go to the shops at like 11:30 at night because I was a bit embarrassed to go around scanning all the products.
Yeah.
Louis, let's go really late so nobody's there.
Isn't it amazing where you end up like like a degree in maths, studying like medicine and stuff at university, and then you're selling a pan.
Yeah, I know. It was a bit like that, to be fair, but that was
Yeah.
what started it all off. So well, I think, to be fair, at the start for us as well, it was definitely like all about getting the proof of concept right, because it's easy to see when like people are flashing Lambos around and saying, "Oh, e-commerce is whatever it is." What's that TikTok video where everyone sees like e-commerce is booming, and you're like, "All right, mate, you know, you're just trying to sell a course."
Yeah.
Just like actually getting to it, buying some products, selling it, making a profit, and being like, "Okay, it does work. Now, how can we like scale this up and do more and more?"
Mhm. How did you find like the learning process? How did you go about that? As you say, like there are people out there, like we all know it, that are just literally there to sell a course. So how did you find navigating learning?
Do you want to take that or?
Yeah, I mean, we watched a lot of videos on TikTok and on YouTube
Yeah.
to get kind of the basic idea of what FBA was.
Hmm.
And then we hadn't actually been selling too long until we won the competition with Luke Colwell.
Yeah.
And that basically allowed us free mentorship and to basically ask any questions that we had about FBA
Hmm.
without kind of worrying about losing any money on some expensive mentorship that might not work.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I
Would you
mean,
recommend a mentorship?
yeah, I would. I would recommend it. Like if I was going to start FBA again, people always ask us on the live, and it's like such a great point. If I was going to start FBA again, what would I do? I would still self-teach for the first like few months, because I
Yeah.
think like doing it yourself, like using the free resources that are out there to do the proof of concept. Because like you're lying if you're saying that FBA is for everyone. It's not. If you're not willing to put in long hours after work, if you're not willing to like pack orders, if you're not willing to like learn how to read the BuyBotPro graphs,
Yeah.
like it's not going to be worth your time. And we know people who've started it, and it's just not for them. Which is
Yeah.
why we always say to people now in the live, like the first thing to do before you set up your business, before you set up your bank account, just use the free trials that are available. Look at all the free education that's out there.
Hmm.
If you are then thinking like this is for me, I think I can work around this,
Yeah.
then start the subscription, then build the business, then get the bank, get that all sorted. And then if you do like maybe a couple of months, you're seeing a little bit of profit and you want to take it seriously, like get involved with a mentorship, because mentors, like we were bad for this at the start, weren't we? We were
Yeah,
not like, we were like, oh no, we're not
terrible.
going to pay for any of these courses, because it kind of is just like, oh, everyone's like doing this and this.
It seems like a lot of money because, like you say, mentorships can be upwards for like £1,000. And I
Yeah.
mean, we put in £450 into the business anyway to get
Yeah, that was like
started.
everything that we put in, and we were like, we're not putting any more in. We're just going to do 450 and just try and grow it.
Yeah.
Almost like similar to how Des was doing his, right? That like
Yeah,
200 to, we were just like, let's just do this and let's just keep scaling. It's like the first few months, if it's only a couple of £100, it doesn't matter because we're adding that to the pot. We didn't take any money out for the first like year, did we?
no.
Yeah.
And with the compounding effect, it is crazy how like you do a couple of hundred and then you think like not much is happening, and then all of a sudden you look back at the pot and there's like 10 grand there. And now when you make a like let's say a 20-30% margin on the 10 grand, it's like great, you're going to make another 3 grand this month.
Yeah.
Like great.
There is a bit of a like a reality check that I think needs to happen when like one's starting out. Like as you say, like go for the free stuff when you get started. There's no point investing money into some learning course if you do that learning and then decide it's not for you. You might as well try and learn it for free and then decide if it's going to be for you or not. And I mean, I guess you guys are doing it as well. Like I know that I'm trying to stop this get rich quick scheme that some people seem to think that Amazon is, and some people try and present Amazon as. Like it is a lot of work. And then when people talk about starting budgets and things like that, and how much money you're going to make, what people don't realize is that you don't just jump from job to Amazon like that. It's a process, and you got to build it up, as I'm sure you guys know. And like you start with a certain amount, but what people don't realize is that you have to keep adding to it. And the reality is you'll probably be adding to that with all of the stuff that you make from Amazon is what you guys have done. Then probably
Yeah.
also funding it as well with money from your job for however long until it's feasible to make that transition.
Yeah.
Speaking of, obviously, uni and a job, how did you guys find juggling those things as well as live stuff with Amazon?
Yeah, take it away, you go first.
It's hard. I think we've got better at it now because I think in the start we were almost obsessed with the Amazon and
Yeah.
basically spending every minute of every hour, like of every day, sourcing, online arbitrage, retail arbitrage. We didn't really have a life. We didn't really do anything outside of Amazon. Like Louis would go to work, I would go to uni, we'd come back, and then we'd just do Amazon and then go to bed.
Yeah.
And we repeated that every single day. I mean, I remember
No, it wasn't every day.
it was quite,
It was a lot, like it was a lot, but we still, yeah, but the thing is, the reason we didn't scale as quick as probably we could have is because we didn't do that.
Yeah, I mean, we still
But
had time for
we still
things like
saw our friends. We
holidays.
still went on like 4 or 5 holidays a year.
Yeah, but I mean,
We
like
still had like
our
did stuff on the
weekends,
weekends.
our
Yeah,
weekends we would go on like to about 12 different shops to try and collect the same product.
Hmm.
'Cause we couldn't get it from like a wholesaler because we were too small to get an account. So
Yeah.
we would just do it as like an RA product.
no, it was also much cheaper. Do you remember? Because it was Oven
Mhm.
Pride. We were selling Oven Pride at the time, and yeah, it was crazy, wasn't it? In the shops, like we just like you're saying, went around all 12, like just used to do a run of these shops, and like they would see us, like they knew us in there, didn't they? They'd be
Yeah,
like,
they
"Oh,
would
they're here
save
again,"
them.
and then like we're like. They're like, oh, if you want us to get more in, we can do this. And we started seeing that their stock levels were going up and up. And we'd go into the shops, 30 on the shelf, clear it, clear it, clear it, and then like build a pallet out of like 400 units that we collected in
Yeah.
one day. And then you just send it all off to Amazon.
Yeah. So I think it was hard to juggle at the start. And then I think once you left your job, it got easier and we kind of realized that actually we just need to see it as another job and not for it to take up your entire life.
Yeah.
And now, on weekends you don't do an awful lot of Amazon unless there's like important things that need to
Yeah.
get done.
Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. I'd agree with that. I do think, no, I mean, I slightly disagree because I think like from the first 6 months we spent a lot of time on it, and then like as we were going on, we were still doing a lot of things to enjoy ourselves, which is why like we weren't able to scale as quick as we could because we weren't spending every hour on it. And then particularly like going from year one to year two when we moved more heavily into the unique bundle side of the model and like moving into replenishable goods, that was at the point where it's like, okay, like we've done all the hard work now, like do the hard work once, build an absolutely great listing, optimize it, run the campaigns, do all of that. But then and then it's kind of like, you know what, we know it's going to sell. This is selling 200 times a month. Just send 200 units in, and then that's kind of done. And then
Hmm.
it's like, okay, you can do a bit of time researching, but there's less pressure. Whereas like OA and RA, for example, when you start, it's like typically products don't really run. Like Oven Pride for us ran for a long time, and that was only like I don't know, maybe 4 month period before somebody finds it, somebody tanks it, or someone massive comes in and just like wholesales the listing.
Hmm.
So I think that was like, yeah, year one to year two, we took a bit more of a relaxed approach. And then, like, yeah, especially as I left my job, then it was just kind of like, well, actually, I've got like the 40 hours in my week back now that I can spend on this business, as well
Yeah.
as like we started other things going on. And then it was just, yeah, it's just nice. And I think now, even more so, like now I've done a few months of being self employed, we're trying to focus on like having more of a work life balance. Because definitely the first month I went full time, I was like, right, if I'm full time in this, I need to spend every waking hour trying to build the businesses so that because it's now paying for the roof over your head effectively, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there's more of that. Like I think it's kind of made up pressure because it was doing fine when we were doing minimal hours on it. So if I carried on doing minimal hours, it'd probably still be fine. But it just gives you that bit more drive to be like, right, you know, there's not going to be this money coming in at the end of the month from somebody else now. Let's
Yeah.
like crack on, get it done, and yeah.
Yeah.
But obviously, you're working so hard as well with like all the like for all of her finals and stuff like that. She was like revising constantly, so it's just kind of like I was like, I might as well just sit in the office and work as well.
Hmm.
Yeah. I think it was good with the Oven Pride because we could not keep up with how quick it was selling. So we would send in like a pallet of Oven Pride and it would be gone within a week. But
Yeah.
we didn't have the capital to kind of just keep sending in to reach the demand. So to be honest, we didn't have to worry about finding more products.
Mm.
So I mean, it didn't make us lazy, but it helped with like time and being able to do other things
Yeah.
because we didn't actually need to sell anything else other than Oven Pride.
Like it massively helped as well for like our capital because our capital
Yeah.
was just like going up quite nicely, and then it got to the point where it's like, okay, we send in 400 units. Like I remember one of the days I was on holiday with my family, not touching the business. We did 73 units of Oven Pride that day, and I was like, what on earth? We can only really pick up 400 in a run, and we have to send that off on a pallet, and then like a quarter of it nearly is gone in a day. And then you got to wait like 2 weeks for the Amazon payout to come. So it's kind of like, right, what do we do now? It's like, well, maybe let's rise the price a little bit, try and get the buy box a bit less, and then just like slowly sell through it until we can get the money back. But yeah,
It's amazing what works. Like anything has the potential to have that kind of demand. And what people don't realize is people aren't just buying like the hottest video game from Amazon. They are buying Oven Pride. They're buying washing up liquid. They're buying toothpaste. Like anything's got that potential to work. Just throwing it back a little bit, when you made the transition from job to Amazon, like did you feel you were like really ready to do that and you couldn't wait, or was it a bit of like a leap of faith sort of thing?
I think it was probably a mix of the two, to be fair, because like I'd wanted to like by the time we were doing the Amazon and stuff, like the problem was like I enjoyed my job. I had a good job. I had a good working environment. Like I had a good team there. I used to love everybody that I worked with. So there was never like because I see a lot of people's like, oh, I used to do this terrible job and then I left it and now it's great. I didn't
Yeah,
have a terrible job though. I had a good job. I liked my job. I liked my team. So leaving was kind of just like it was just that things were like piling up more and more. There was more and more workload. I didn't feel personally that I was being rewarded for those things. I
yeah.
was taking over basically quite a majority of the operation at a time,
Hmm.
and I was just like, I'm doing this now, and I'm earning more money doing something else on the side. So like, it makes sense now to leave. This is the right time.
Yeah,
I mean, there's never like a definite moment where someone goes like, you should definitely leave your job and do this. It's
yeah,
always a bit of a leap of faith because you know how it is with Amazon. They could turn our account off
yeah,
tomorrow. And that's one thing. That's why we're trying to diversify now with like moving into the top dog and stuff like that, because it's good to have Amazon and we owe everything to Amazon. It's made us, but even more so now, like I don't know if you've seen a lot of what's going on with like they are just running rampant with bots, like they are chucking suspected IPs out on like listings that have been up for years,
yeah,
all sorts of these things. And then people are waking up overnight and it's like they've got 20 violations on their account. Their account health is like in the bin. It's like, oh, by the way, like, because Amazon's never nice about it. They just send you a nice little email going, yeah, you've done this twice now. We're going to deactivate your account. You're like, hang on a minute, I've sold for 2 years now. Like, how much money have we given them in PPC and fees, all that? And they're just like, yeah, it's just all automated. It's because they're so big.
yeah.
Um,
I
so
know you
yeah,
guys were very much about like you, as you say, unique bundles as well. Are you still very much into that? For anyone that doesn't know what unique bundles is, would you mind just explaining a little bit about it? What advice you give for anyone who's thinking about it? And then also on that note as well, I hope I'm not just piling all the questions on at this
no, it's
point.
fine, it's fine.
Um, Obviously, it was I think it was in October, September, October last year when obviously the major changes happened with unique bundles in the US. And like, what are your thoughts on that? And do you think that that will happen in the UK?
Yeah, do you want to start it?
Yeah, so essentially, what a unique bundle is you find what's called an anchor product, and that's a product that sells really well by itself on Amazon. So that might be
Just use the toothpaste
yeah,
example,
Colgate
yeah.
toothpaste. So sells thousands and thousands of times per month. You would take the toothpaste, probably
Mhm.
get it from a wholesaler, and you would pair that with your own kind of white label product. So that might be a toothbrush holder, or you might private label a toothbrush
Mhm.
and you sell that together as a bundle under your own brand,
Yeah.
but including the Colgate toothpaste to basically get the sales, essentially, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. It's effectively just like you just think about products that make sense for people to buy together. The idea is it's got to be compelling, it's got to be convenient, it's got to be like customer focused. So it wouldn't make sense to like get a toothbrush and then like put it with a brush to paint your nails or something. Like you're like, well, what would I do when I brush my teeth? Okay, well, I might use the toothpaste. I might use mouthwash after that, and then you can go away find like almost like a sub anchor product where you're like, okay, this mouthwash also Colgate is selling quite well. We'll put those together, and then we'll add the unique. The difference between bundles and unique bundles is you're adding the white label toothbrush. So that's like a private label toothbrush that you get manufactured under your brand,
Hmm.
and then as of the old rules, you could put those three things together and list it under our own brand.
I
The,
think it's a nice medium between kind of the jump between wholesale and private label,
mm.
Yeah.
because it's not as you don't spend as much money starting unique bundles, whereas private label you need quite a large amount of money, I'd say.
Yeah, you do need a large amount of money. It just depends on the product, though, really, doesn't it? Because if you're private
Yeah,
labeling something that's like going to cost you 20 pence to make, and you're going to sell it for 6 quid, like
yeah.
it's not actually a massive punt. The more of the money comes in on like the PPC and the running the ads and boosting it and all sorts of stuff. But yeah,
Do you want to talk about the US
yeah, the
rules?
policies. Yeah, so I think like the policies, I think it was something that they like Amazon felt like they had to do, and particularly in the US, like US is a lot is very different to the UK market. There's a lot more lawsuits that fly about. Obviously, it's just a bigger market. I think it's like
Yeah.
10x the market in the UK.
Yeah.
So if you think about all the things that happen in the UK, 10 times that amount, if not more, happens in the US. You have brands and you have all sorts of different sellers, just like going, oh, okay, sound, I'm going to be now represent like a massive brand like Colgate. And it's like, well, I don't know who you are. I don't know why you're doing it. I don't know where you're buying your products from. So they brought out a policy to say that if it's a consumable product and you can take from that what you will, you cannot bundle it anymore and list it under your own brand unless you have approval from the brand. So going forward, well, I mean, what we do anyway when we work, like sort of do bundling, is just try to work with the brand direct. So it's like you take unique bundles and also a little bit of brand direct, and you can reach out to the brand. Obviously, if it's a brand like Procter and Gamble, or like someone like that, like they're not going to give you an account, or they're not going to say you can have authority to sell this listing under your own. Obviously not. But like if you work with the right brands, you can speak to them, you can ask them, and they will. If you're nice enough and you speak, like people buy from people, so if you can ring up on the phone, speak to them, try and build up a relationship, work with them, they will help you out not only supplying the products for the cheapest on the market, because now you're not having to go to distributor and wholesaler, and the more down the chain you go, the more margin people are stacking on top. So if you work with a brand, it's cheaper to do, you get the authority to do the listing, and your listings will be safe. Failing that, just don't sell in a consumable category. Like, for example, DIY and tools, very big category. I know a lot of people who do bundles in those categories very successfully, and they don't have anything to worry about because a drill bit is not a consumable item.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my kind of thoughts on the unique bundles. Did we miss any questions?
No, 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 no. I think you covered that just fine. I mean, I guess the last thing is, do you think that anything similar would happen in the UK like it did with the US, or not really? Are you
Yeah,
not worried about it?
I think something similar is kind of already starting. I mean,
Mhm.
we've seen the rise in IPs basically been thrown out to everybody.
But they're not like legit IPs, though, are they? They're like Amazon suspected.
Yeah. So I think they're trying to clamp down basically on bundles, and I think now it's very, very hard to do a bundle rather than a unique bundle.
Mhm.
So let's say
Oh yeah, bundles are dead like that.
I wanted to sell a 2 pack of Colgate under my
Yeah.
brand. Amazon would be like, absolutely not. Whereas before, people were making a lot of money doing that.
Mhm.
Yeah, because there's different kinds of bundles, isn't there? Like the difference between a bundle and a unique bundle. So you get multi-packs, or you have things where people don't put any private label elements to it. So they might just be like, it's the Colgate toothpaste and mouthwash like paired together,
Mhm.
but they still would sell that under their
Under their
brand.
brand, yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas like that kind of business, that kind of bundle is now basically redundant. The multi-packs and listing under your own, that's redundant. It's really only the unique ones, and you have to be absolutely compliant with every single policy.
Yeah.
Which is why if you're going to get into unique bundles, for anybody watching, um, I would highly recommend that you get some form of training from somebody who knows what they do.
I think it's impossible to do it by yourself.
Yeah. Well, like, we're personally part of a bundle group. We're part of a bundle group with a woman called Natalie Cromie. I'm sure you know who she is in the space. She's been doing it forever, basically. And the reason it comes back to the mentorship. Like we pay for it. It's it costs money, but the thing is, the lessons and everything that you teach is going to save you your business. Because if you're not knowing how to keep up with these policies, like because she'll do the training on how to do it, you could lose your business, and you could lose that. Whereas it's like, well, if it's going to cost you, I don't know, X amount a month, it's like, well, that's worth paying for.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a very interesting time for unique bundles. To be honest with you, like there's a lot of money to be made. There's a lot of opportunity because with things like this, with a catalog clear out, comes opportunities. Because the customers don't just go away. Like if somebody's searching for Colgate 30,000 times a month,
Mhm.
and then all of a sudden there was 1,000 listings, and it's now been culled down to 45. If you can make a compliant listing under that keyword, well, you're going to get a nice chunk of sales that perhaps you wouldn't have got before.
Mhm.
So I think, yeah, opportunity is big, but people often focus on the wrong end of the stick. I think people are like, oh, bundles are terrible, you shouldn't do
Yeah,
them. It's
we've
like,
had a
no, the
lot of
opportunity is
people
massive,
say
bigger than
that.
ever.
Yeah, we've had people saying we can't even do unique bundles anymore in the UK. And we're like, well, that's not actually true. You just need to be compliant.
Mhm. Exactly. Yeah, it's what I tell people this all the time where like stuff changes frequently, so you don't just read the rules once and then that's it, you're set for your entire Amazon journey. You got to keep reading up on them. I'd say to join a couple of groups as well, so if someone else is talking about it, then you get to know as well. Like, yeah, you can't just go about it alone. When it comes to like working with a brand or like reaching out to them, what would you say the requirements are, if there are any? Like what like if someone was brand new to selling on Amazon and they've just listened to this and they think, oh, that's a great idea, I'll just go ahead and do that. Like, would you say that's possible?
I personally like. I would say it's definitely possible. I personally just don't think that the person, unless they've had, quite a lot of training, would be capable of doing it
Mm.
because you need to have some. You need to ideally have some sort of reputation behind you.
Yeah.
You need to know your technical terms and your jargon and all that sort of stuff. And if people turn around to you and go like, we could potentially work with you. Like, our order MOQ is this, and you're brand new to it, and you're sitting there going, "What's an MOQ?" And it's like, well, actually, if you've done Amazon for about a week or a month, you'd know that an MOQ is a minimum order quantity. But if you get caught out with things like that, they will just very quickly see through it.
Hmm.
And I think it really is all about how you come across to the brand. If the brand is confident in who you are and you are going to represent them well, they are more than likely going to be happy to work with you. Whereas if they're looking at you and you're a bit skeptical, you don't know really what's going on, you're unable to keep up the conversation, I just think like it's just not possible. They'll say, yeah, it's all nice, and then you'll come off and they'll go, send me an email, and then that's once they say send me an email, you might as well just put that brand in the bin.
Yeah. I think it's the same with wholesalers as well. I mean, a lot of people are scared to tell wholesalers that they do FBA because they think it's frowned upon. But actually,
Yeah.
if like you say, Louis, you phone them up and you are a real person, you sell them the story that they are selling to a person. 9 times out of 10, they're absolutely fine with the fact that you're selling on Amazon.
Well, yeah, I mean, we don't even do much wholesale, but we've been in contact with big wholesalers before now, and they've been like, no, we don't. It says on their website all over, we don't deal with Amazon customers, don't deal with them. I'll call them up. I'll have a 20-minute conversation. By the end of it, I've got in my email the sign up form to be with the wholesaler,
Hmm.
and they're like, to be honest with you, it's not really about the Amazon. It's not about that. It's about what comes with the Amazon. And they say like typically if it's a big wholesaler, again, it comes down to the fact that they don't know. If you're just sitting in your they wholesalers particularly think that if you as soon as you say Amazon, they think right, he's sat in his like parents' house in his bedroom and he wants to try and like come across like some brand, but really he's a one-man operation with a couple of cardboard boxes. And it's like it's not always the case that you're like that. You might have a full, whether you use Prep Center like we do for Skewific, whether you have your own warehouse with all these people set up, just get across that you are professional, that you are want to be taken seriously and all that sort of stuff. You'll never have a problem being an Amazon seller. I personally have found.
Yeah.
Where is it that do you think it comes from? Where, because I've heard that plenty of times where they say, "Oh, when you reach out to a wholesaler, don't mention that you're an Amazon seller." Like, where do you think that comes from? Why do you think that is?
As in terms of like, why do people say don't say you're an
Yeah,
Amazon seller?
yeah,
I think because if people do not pick up the phone, which typically they don't, because I don't know why people sometimes don't like talking to people.
yeah,
I'm going to be honest. If you're in business, the first thing to do is learn how to communicate with people, learn how to read what they're about, learn how to interact. Like sometimes you are going to have to change how you come across to meet
yeah.
someone. Sometimes I've talked to suppliers and they're very dead serious and they just want to know the facts, and that's great. And other times I speak to them, and the wholesaler will, like might even say a swear word to me on the phone. I know it's a bit more of a loose relationship. So learn to deal with people is the most important thing. But I think the reason it comes about is because if you send an email going, "Oh, I'm an Amazon seller, I want to sell your stuff," they just go, "No, no, no, like not interested. We've got millions of other clients who want to work with us, and they have got websites and shops, and they just think that's more reputable."
Hmm.
I think that's where it comes from.
I know that in general that there seems to be this like I don't know what the official term is, what people actually call it, but like a call phobia where people just hate calls. So I know that's a really present thing. But as you say, like you're getting into this business, like you've got to just learn to do these things because otherwise you're not going to be able to run it. Like if you can't call the company and go, hey, can we work together? You're not going to have the opportunity, full stop. So I guess even if that isn't really you, you've got to like pretend it is. You've got to like act a part, I suppose. Um, when like in between when you guys started and now, like would you both say that you've experienced some sort of like personal growth on that kind of level, maybe? Like, for example, as you said earlier, Holly, when initially you were doing retail arbitrage, you're like, oh, I don't want to be seen by anyone. I'm gonna let's go to the store like really, really late. Would you say that like that's really different now? Or like have you had any like growth
I
like
would
that?
say that my confidence in a business sense has definitely grown. Like I'm more confident speaking to people, approaching people, kind of
Yeah.
giving a spiel about what it is that I want or what I want somebody to do. In terms of the RA and the OA, I am a little bit still like, I mean, we sometimes do RA just for the video purposes to
Yeah.
show people how to do it. And I still get um, a little bit
A little bit
shy.
shaky.
Yeah. When people kind of look at you and you're scanning the barcode. But I
Yeah.
mean, I also don't really mind because I think it's quite nice when people say, "Oh, what is it that you do?" And then you explain to them. I mean, we've told people who are like scanning our items through in the shop before what we do, and they're like, "Wow, that's amazing. Tell me more about how you're doing that." And actually, they're not really bothered.
Yeah. There ends up being a lot more of a positive response to it than what people would initially think. Even if it's not a wow, that's amazing. They're just like, oh right, okay. And that's it. You just carry on with your day.
Yeah, I
Like they
mean, with
don't care.
obviously, you know, we were scanning through 30 oven prides at, you know, Tesco, Morrison's, Sainsbury's, and everyone would think that they have a really unique joke saying, "Oh, have you got a lot of ovens to clean?" And we're like, "Oh, that's so
I was so
unique."
jarring, wasn't
Yeah,
it? Like every time.
every time they would say that, and you've got to be like, "Oh, you're so funny." But yeah, to be honest, people are really happy to hear about Amazon and reselling, and we're like, "Wow, we're just really glad you're doing something for yourself. It sounds really great."
Mhm.
Yeah, people are typically always buzzing for it, and like somebody who works at a shop is not going to care what you're going to do with Oven Pride. Like they have no relation to the brand. Like most shop workers, like if you work at Asda, you're not on like a commission basis. It doesn't matter if you sell no Oven Prides or 10. So if you sell them and they've got someone to talk to, because typically if we're doing that sort of thing, we won't go to self service because it's like, oh, you got like I'm not scanning through 35 Oven Prides. I just go
Yeah.
to the till. And then
Yeah.
they're just nice because you have a conversation with them. Like we're always very polite to people all the time. Like we ask them what's going on with them and what they're up to. I mean, like shout out to what's her name, Denise in Home Bargains in one of the Sheffields. Like she used to like we know on first name basis. We talk to her all the time. She's always asking like even though we don't go and do that sort of stuff anymore. Even if we just pop in to pick up whatever.
Yeah, we know about her holidays,
Yeah,
where she's been.
she'll go, oh, nice to see you. Haven't seen you two in a while. How's things going with the business? We have another guy in Tesco. He's always like, oh, how's things going with the business? We haven't seen you around here much. And we was telling him like, oh, you know, we started doing a bit of wholesale. We like working more with brands direct now. And he's like, oh, amazing. Like, I'm really glad to hear that it's like going up and that. He goes, yeah, we've had to stock less Oven Pride now since you've stopped coming in. It's just, you know, people are nice. If you're nice to people, they'll be nice back to you, and they don't really care what it is you're doing with the product because it's not their job to care. So, you know,
Retail arbitrage is super special in that way, and it's not really something that any of the other methods really have in that kind of abundance. So, I mean, naturally, for a lot of people, they end up moving away from RA, and for things like that, it's kind of hard to do because obviously you get to know people, and then they might go, "Oh yeah, got a couple of boxes for you, just take them," or "Oh, we're restocking on this day." Like little things like that is super useful, and you don't really get that with anything else. Um, on the flip side, though, have you guys ever experienced any sort of like problems as you've been doing RA? Like, for example, I know that some stores are really particular with like the quantities that you purchase of a certain item. Like, have you ever bumped into anything like that?
we actually haven't.
No, I
We've
mean
never
the
ever
only
had
thing
anyone.
that had like a limit was when we sold Prime. But I mean,
But
we just
that wasn't the fault. That wasn't like a worker said, "Oh, you can't buy that." It was like it was known everywhere around the
yeah,
globe that you
Mm.
couldn't buy more than 3 bottles of Prime at any one time.
Yeah, yeah.
And that so all we did, and again, nobody told us off for this. What did we do? We just went around the store 4 times because also to sell Prime, this is a little. I mean, this is not a hack because this will not work anymore. But back in the day when we were doing this, right, we picked up the limited edition KSI Prime.
Yeah.
Like we just were going in the shop actually to buy something in a little Sainsbury's local. We walked in. I just looked to my right. There's a big stand of the KSI Prime. I was like,
and it was full.
I'm having that, mate. I know for a fact on Amazon that's selling for like 17 quid a bottle. Went there, grabbed 3, scanned them through, went out the shop, put them in the bag, went round again, did it 4 times, and then
So we had 4 separate receipts for
so we had
this.
4 receipts now of totaling 12 bottles. We go on to sell it on Amazon because we were so hyped to see it, gated, and I was like, okay, that's fine. Sent in 4 receipts, all like just in a photo together. When
Yeah.
they say to you, you can't send receipts. It's got to be 10 units on an invoice, legitimate, all that. Sent off 4 receipts. Never been approved so fast for anything in my life because Amazon wanted people to sell it. There was only like 5 sellers who had it, and it was like being searched for like 20, 30,000 times a month.
Yeah, and then not only that, we also got ungated for the whole of grocery.
Whole of grocery was ungated after that for 4 receipts of individual
from
things.
Sainsbury's.
I've never heard anything like that before. I've never heard of Amazon accepting a receipt. No one's ever told me a story like
It
that.
was actually bonkers, and that just shows you though that Amazon, it's like what it's always going to be one rule for one rule for another. And if it's in Amazon's favor, if you've got something that they want on their platform, they'll bend over backwards and do whatever you want. And it's like they just gave us all a grocery off of 4 individual receipts, and it was like, and we didn't even know at the time, did we? Because we were fairly new to the RA at this point. We didn't even know that you couldn't use receipts.
And,
That was
and
that.
yet that happened.
Yeah, and yet now we have no problem on any of groceries from 4 Sainsbury's
I mean, we've
receipts.
never actually had an issue with ungating. I mean, it seems like it's a really big problem now for people to get ungated. And I mean, I've heard of some people needing 100 of each product now to get ungated, especially if it's Amazon's product. But I think also bigger brands now are doing 100 on an invoice. Um, but yeah, we've never really had an issue with ungating. I think that basically cleared us for most things.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, no, but anyway, when we need to get gated on other things like toys and games or something like that, like we were always sending an invoice with over 10 units from a legitimate supplier to like the registered address. So Amazon were always just like happy to be like, yep, sound is ungated. Also, a lot of the products as well, back in the day, I think a lot more products are gated now.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, whereas when we were doing it, like most things, it was typically quite rare if something was gated actually. Whereas now it sounds like basically most listings are gated, and you
Yeah,
need to
and a lot of things are now hard gated, and you've basically got no chance.
Yeah, but that's Amazon just trying to like clamp down, and I get it because to like the average Joe, like if somebody buys off Amazon, like and they're buying from us, they have no idea. Like people just buy it and they just go, "It's come from Amazon," and you're like, "Oh, who was the seller?" And they're like, "Well, Amazon. I bought it off Amazon." You're like, "No, there's like 100 sellers on the listing. It's all different. It comes from anywhere," and people just go, "No, I bought it from Amazon. It's from Amazon." You're like, "Okay," which is why I think they are clamping down so much more on the compliance because it looks bad on them if people start sending like fake goods or start sending like the incorrect packaging and things like that.
Or branded products from China, which I've heard of people doing.
Yeah, that's a top tip. If you're ever thinking like, you see, I don't know, some sort of brand on AliExpress, do not buy it.
Is it like on buy?
Or on buy or any of those, like just do your checks. Buy if you're buying a branded good, buy it from a legitimate distributor, wholesaler, or even shop. And if you're unsure if they're legitimate, message them and ask for the proof and the authenticity to resell the product. If they can't give you that, don't buy it.
I had a question that was put to me maybe a week or two, no, maybe a bit more, it was probably a bit more than that now, where someone asked me, "Oh, I'm looking at this monopoly on Alibaba. Like, oh, is that okay?" I literally went onto the list. I went into the Alibaba listing itself, and it had a picture of Monopoly, and then in the next image it was a completely different board game, then a completely different board game, and I went to the variations, and it literally said white, black, green. What are those variations? So yeah, Alibaba, AliExpress, everything like that is a big no-no. For anyone that's obviously just listened to the Prime story just there and they think, oh, cool, I'll try that. Would you say that that's a good idea?
Don't
Has
try
Prime
that.
had its day?
Do not try that. Like that was genuinely the luckiest that we've ever got with Amazon.
Yeah.
And
The only time they've been on our
we
side.
did that out of negligence. We did that because we didn't know at the time. It was lucky that it worked. I would like ever since then we have always provided an invoice with the amount of units they require, with the dates on it, with the all sorts. We do it all properly now. That was just one time, and it was just sort of a punt to be honest, and we just got lucky. But we've had other times where we tried to punt things and they're like no. So
yeah, we've had times before where we've bought products on like an OA and then not actually checked, and then it turns out we're gated, so we have to send them back. But that's just laziness on our part. We should have probably checked.
Yeah, definitely.
So basically, everyone don't buy Prime anymore, just for enjoyment. If you even like,
Don't buy Prime anymore either. Yeah. The Prime hype is dead. Now,
I tell you what, last year, I think it was maybe around this time last year, I was passing through Waterloo Station in London, and then a little black van pulled up like actually in the station. They opened the doors, they pulled out these massive barrels, and they were full of Prime drinks that they were just giving away like completely for free.
Wow.
Like
yeah,
absolutely nuts. But if that happens again, everyone just drink them, don't sell them.
yeah. Don't sell Prime. Don't sell Prime.
Yeah.
It's not like it was. It's not like it was at all. But the KSI one was like a limited edition. It was like known there was only going to be this drop, and then no one could get it anywhere. And it was also right at the beginning of all the hype and stuff.
Yeah, it was one of the first primes to be released.
Yeah, so.
Whereas now nobody really cares.
Well, it was like one of the first of like the non-standard flavors, wasn't it? Because they had like the blue, the red, the purple, and the yellow, and then they brought out like started bringing out like limited edition ones, and they did do well on Amazon. To be fair.
Yeah. It's just one of them things that come and go, and if you can assess the hype before it happens and get in on it, like that's great. I mean, we've lived through so much loom bands, fidget spinners.
Yeah, fidget spinners like loom bands, all sorts.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can get, if you do see a trend like, and it's like a trend that's really popping off, like you should definitely always like look into it and see if there is a way that you can get things because it will make you money. But it's one of those ones where it's like if you don't know what you're doing, maybe stay away, because it's very easy to think like the hype's still there, and then by the time you
Yeah,
send it to Amazon,
yeah.
the flash is gone from the
They're
pan.
usually pretty short-lived, aren't they?
Oh yeah, it's very much like, if we sent it off very quickly, and then we sent it off and we sold all of our units for like, I don't know, I think it was about 20 quid a bottle or something ridiculous like that. I mean, it was definitely scamming people, that's for sure. But I was like, I'm not going to complain if kids want to pay 20 quid for a bottle of Prime. I'm happy to sell it to you with £1 from Sainsbury's. But yeah, when it comes to flashing the pans, if we'd done it like maybe a week or two later, I think that by the time all the sellers have got onto it, it was down to like maybe 10 quid a bottle, and then like another week later, it was down to 5 quid a bottle, and you won't make your profit anymore.
Hmm.
So yeah, you just got to be careful with things like that, especially because of leads groups as well.
Yeah.
Because if you that's not like a flash in the pan thing, but if you notice with an RA product and you go quite heavily on it nowadays, especially, this is another thing that's harder for new sellers. There's so many leads group out there, and like they just like, if somebody finds Oven Pride in the shop, whereas before we bought it, kept it to ourselves, and didn't tell anyone for 4 months, then somebody has found it, and then they go, guess what, everybody, you can buy this now to 120 people, and everyone goes, great.
Well, no, they also we've seen Oven Pride on TikTok. People were showing how good Oven Pride was, and I was like, shh, you don't need to tell everybody.
But it was like, by that point, there's like, you turn around, you look at it, and there's like 150 people on the ASIN, and the price is in the bin, and you're like, okay, we have two choices. We're either going to lose some money, or we have to hold on to the stock now until they can't get it anymore. So
When people talk about saturation on Amazon and like they're worried about it and they make out like it's a bigger thing it is, it's not. The saturation thing only happens when things like that happen, when deal leads groups aren't run properly and someone is dropping like a lead or two in front of like 500 sets of eyes, then yes, of course, that's going to happen. And then any other time when it's not that, I think that's just a weird like one-off sort of thing.
yeah,
Um, yeah,
I mean, with leads groups, if they're selling the subscription, they're only giving the product to 3 people.
yeah,
That's fine. But the issue is they don't typically do that.
yeah,
They
yeah.
give it to the whole group and they post it on their social media. So then you have a look and you're like, oh, there's 200 sellers now.
Thanks for taking away my oven pride.
yeah, yeah. We're not gonna run on about leads groups, because it's just a jarring topic, and like it's just like basically a glorified shopping list. It's like it's for people who are lazy and can't be asked to like get off their ass, do some sourcing properly, learn from people.
Mhm.
It's not teaching you how to source, is it? If I literally go to you, here we're going to learn how to source today. Here's the product, here's the shop, here's the price, and here's where you can sell it. It's like, well, what have you taught me? Taught me anything? You've
Yeah,
just
yeah,
given me an item to buy.
yeah.
So yeah, but we'll leave the leads group because it's too controversial. We spend too much time talking about leads group. I don't want to give them any airtime.
Yeah, if they're run properly, they're okay.
Yeah.
Typically, they're not.
Yeah, I think there's only really one leads group that I know that does it well, and it does like a ticketing system where you enter into it, and then like the leads are given away to like a few people. Other than that, if you're just posting a lead to 150 people in Discord that you're taking like 50 quid a month off, it's like, well, your business isn't Amazon then, is it? Your business is taking the subscription fee.
Yeah. To save us from having a deal leads related heart attack, I
Yeah.
think we should shake it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I want to know a little bit about oh, I do, everyone else does. You like to me, you guys are the first. I mean, maybe there's been others, I don't know. But to me, you guys are the first like original Amazon couple. Like, what got you guys like started with the whole TikTok thing? Because you could have very easily just done Amazon selling and no one would know. It's just your guys' thing and that's it. So what got you guys into the whole TikTok thing?
I mean, we do have to give this one to Luke Colwell, our mentor.
Yeah, credit where credit's
because
due. Luke was the one who made us start.
yeah, when we entered his competition for free mentorship, he said the one condition is you have to document your journey on TikTok. So we won. We made a TikTok. We were so embarrassed. It took about an hour to make our first video.
Painful.
And I remember recording it, and you were like, "No, we can't upload that. That's really embarrassing."
We were just like, "This is tragic. This is tragic." And it's not like I don't care. Like at the time, I didn't care about it going out to the internet. I don't care about that. It's more like, bro, I cannot let the lads group chat find out about this. They see, because I was also like, do you know what? We're gonna post a video. It's gonna get like 10 views and 1 like, and like people just get like, if they find out, I'm just gonna get ripped for it. So that was definitely how it was at the start, for sure. And yeah, like you say, it took us a long time to film it. I'm in an iron about how to even film the style, like what kind of style, what kind of niche we want to go into and stuff.
We
But then,
probably refilmed our first video at least 20 times.
yeah, because we did like more of a waffly intro, and then we were like, do you know what? Like, this is so boring. So we just literally was like, this is a 5 second video. I'm Holly, this is Louis, and we're going to be documenting our FBA journey. See you tomorrow. And that was it. Whereas before we were like, I'm about to, and we were just like, it's just not me engaging. Nobody knows who we are. TikTok is so like, typically brain dead. It's very much like, I'm going to give you 5 seconds of my time. If you haven't grabbed me, then I'm moving on.
Yeah.
So we're just like, let's just do a 5 second video. And then from there, it was kind of the rest was history, wasn't it? We just got more and more confident as we did. And then also, like, as you grow your page, you have like people start like DMing you saying like, you've inspired me to do this. We like, even like FBA today, didn't he made a video saying like, oh, these are my favorite people that I watch at the moment. And mentioned us, and like having people like that, having comments, having DMs saying like you genuinely help people out.
Yeah.
Now it's just at the point, it's like, well, if the lads group chat sees it, they can't really say anything. So I help hundreds of people for free online, so you can like basically do one.
The lads group chat will be coming to you for advice.
Well, mate, yeah, that's it. They reached you at the start, but yeah, one of my mates recently was like, "Oh, I can't believe you're doing this. That's so jokes." And then like 2 messages later, it's like, "Do you reckon you'd be able to help me out with the Amazon FBA thing?" Because he started FBA at the same time as I did. But he just did like a completely different model. I think he attempted doing PL right at the start, and I was like, oh, okay. And then it like obviously didn't work.
Yeah.
He made one sale and it was to a mate, I think, and then he just like stopped after that. Obviously, I carried on for 2 years, and now we're at the point where we're doing, quite a good bit of money and all that sort of stuff. And then now he's like, oh, do you think you'd be able to help me out? I'm like, well, yeah, I probably could help you out. To be fair, yeah, we're always up for helping our mates out. We help out. Well, we did help out like Max and Beth at the start, and me. And
yeah, they're a new FBA couple.
Yeah, that's a new FBA couple. That's.
Do you feel like you guys have started a trend? Because I've seen a lot more like Amazon-y couples.
Who knows? Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah,
I think you guys. Maybe you'll get fried for saying that, but I think you guys have.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We were just lucky that we had the handle at the start. Like, that's what I'm saying, because nobody else was the FBA couple. So now it's like, because we're almost toying with the idea recently of like sort of changing our TikTok name to more of like a business focused one. So obviously we're still cracking on with the Amazon and doing all that sort of stuff. But like now with the release of the Top Dog, and then we also have run agencies like for the optimization and stuff. It's kind of like as we're moving forward, it's kind of moving into more of like a business setting now, and I'm not sure if the rebrand would work or not really, because it's like everybody knows us now as the FBA couple. Even when we went to Spring Fair, it's like it's the FBA couple. We're like, well, okay, but if we got rid of that title, it's like,
who are we then?
Yeah, who are we?
Yeah, no, I think you guys should keep it like you are the FBA couple.
I'd be upset if somebody took it as well.
No, that's your issue, isn't it? You're like, oh, I do agree we need to change, but if someone took it, like, what do we do? I was like, yeah, but if someone took it, they'd be foolish to do that, because nobody would, like, you just wouldn't be well known as that.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody in the Amazon space at the moment, like who we know anyway, knows that we are the FBA couple. So if you had the handle as the FBA couple, people would just be like, that's just not them, though.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
One thing that I've seen quite a bit of on your TikTok is that you both seem to be keen golfers, if I'm right in saying.
Oh yeah, mate. I've been playing golf recently. To be fair, absolutely loving it. I'm a bit of a driving range merchant, though, I must admit. Like I've never played on an 18-hole course yet.
Yeah.
Par 3, haven't we?
Yeah, we played par 3s a few times at different places and stuff, and I like that. But to be honest with you, at the start, I was just like, let's just get to the driving range and actually learn how to hit a ball. Because the first time I went was absolutely abysmal, and I was like, I cannot go to a golf course. I'm just going to end up chunking all of the course up. Like, people are going to be fuming at me, and it's going to take me like 20 shots to get it in. So I feel like we're ready now, though, to go on like the course. We've just been waiting for the weather to get a bit better, to be honest. And obviously, like Hollie was finishing exams and all sorts. Now we've got the time. Definitely going to get out there and get some golf going.
I wouldn't say I'm a golfer. I just come along for the ride, to be honest.
The thing is, you are good, though.
I go in waves of thinking I'm improving and then being worse than my first day of golf. And I'm like, I don't know how I've gone so far backwards, but it irritates me because I do like to do things well.
Yeah.
When I've got a sport that I'm really, really not good at, I'm like, right, I don't like it. I'll move on to the next one.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? But yeah, no, golf has been...
It's been fun. It's nice in the summer as well.
It is, yeah. More of like a recent addition, to be fair.
Yeah.
I mean, the furthest I go is Wii golf, so...
To be fair, that's how we started.
Was it just a spontaneous thing that did you go, oh yeah, fancy giving like real life golf a go, or like did someone tell you to go and do it?
I'd always wanted to go to a driving range, to be fair, but I just never been. And I was like, do you know what? Like, my mate was like, oh, I've been to a driving range before. He used to play golf, and I was like, oh, can we go? Because I didn't want to go by myself. I had no clubs, no idea what I was going to do. And then obviously, if you go with someone who knows, that he turns up, he's like, oh yeah, can we have 150 balls on like Bay 15? I'm like, yeah, sure, great. And then he's like, we've got clubs. And then, then I just spent a long time, like, just for me, if I take on anything, I just like to learn about it. So as soon as I started like going to the driving range once, I was like, this is great, but I don't want to be this bad. So I started like watching videos on it, and that's how you just get sucked into it. I think like there's a bit of a thing with golf. I see it on TikTok sometimes where people say like, once you start with a little bit of golf, next thing you know, you're watching all the Masters, you're watching this, that, and the other. You're spending £1,000 on a new driver and stuff. So yeah, I can see why though. It's very addictive.
Should I expect to see a new TikTok soon called like the golf couple or something?
I think it'll probably just be Louis golfing.
Yeah,
I'll be filming.
Probably just be my golfing, to be fair. But yeah, no, I love playing golf, to be fair, and yeah, we put it. I mainly put it on the channel actually on ours. If I go to the driving range, I just put it on there because I always just think the view up at where we play up at the Loxley driving range is just so beautiful up there.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's just a nice bit of content as well, isn't it? Really, to be fair. It's just
I mean, we try and do like sports as and when we can. I mean, we go for a lot of walks in the peaks because obviously we've got the peak district on our doorstep. Like you say, we do a bit of golf, and then sometimes a bit of trampolining.
Bit of trampolining, yeah, that's a bit of a rogue one, isn't it?
Yeah, I kind of bully Louis to come with me.
Yeah, you should talk about that though. You were very good at trampolining.
Yeah, I mean, I went trampolining for 11 years and then just got too busy with uni, quit, and then basically subbed the trampolining in for the Amazon. It was basically at the same time, wasn't it? So I thought, oh, I'm going to have all this free time. Bang, let's start a business. No time.
Yeah.
But we've just recently been going to like adult gymnastic classes, and to be honest, they're really fun, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say a class is a loose term. We just turn up and like you've got access to all the trampolines and stuff and like the foam pit and that, so we just like chuck loads of somersaults in there and stuff. But it is really fun, to be fair.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's no kind of learning.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not like a class. It's just like a turn up. You got access to a fully like Olympic.
Yeah.
It's like basically a better trampoline park. Have you ever been to one of those trampoline parks? Like the trampolines on there are actually so dead compared to if you go to and use like Olympic beds, which is obviously what Hollie used to train on for 11 years. I did a bit while I was at uni and stuff like that. So it's good fun. I'd recommend it to anyone. We like to take some of our friends sometimes, don't we? And they're like, yeah, this is sick. Yeah, like it's really good.
I'd love to go to a proper trampolining thing. I've got a teensy bit of a I wouldn't really go as far as a phobia, but basically the last time I ever went on a trampoline was when I was considerably younger, and it was just one that was outdoors. It was like massive, and because I got too tall, I think, or maybe too heavy or whatever, I was jumping, and then a spring popped out. And then it stabbed me in the leg, and ever since then I've been like, no, I don't want to go on one ever again. But then, like when I've actually seen some of your videos, and like when you go to these places, and I think I'd love to give that a shot, just so long as no springs like pop out and attack me.
Mate, we have to get him along to one. To be fair, that'd be quality. It's not even that far for you. Oh, is it that far?
It'd be worth.
I don't know, about an hour maybe. But that'd actually be quality. You're most welcome to come if you want to. That'd be so funny as well to get some content out of that.
Content, yeah.
Yeah, too right.
Oh yeah, guy from BuyBotPro got another spring stuck in his leg.
I'd be impressed if you broke one of them springs. Let me tell you, you have to be going some, don't you, to break them springs? Like it's not that it doesn't happen, but like normally it's by people who are bouncing, don't know,
pretty high.
8 meters high or whatever like that. Yeah, I'm just trying to think what else we do. Well, it's mainly just those. We just like activities, to be honest with you, like getting out, doing
going on holiday.
Yeah, I mean, our number one is traveling. That's effectively why we set up the Amazon, really, because we were like, we want to run online companies so that we have location freedom. That was the biggest thing for us.
Yeah.
I don't really care about, to be fair, what cars on the drive or how many bedrooms are in the house or whatever like that. But I do care about like having enough money that we can just like go away, travel for a bit, like we're going to go away for a couple of months, travel around Asia, and we can still make the money from there because we have all the systems in place in the UK that it's just like, we order it, like I have a good relationship with the suppliers and the brands, so I call them up and then I say send this there, then it goes to the prep center, to Skewific obviously, then Skewific do their thing and they prep it all up, send it out to Amazon, and then when the sale's made, Amazon do it. And then it's like, and now we've just brought on like a full-time like bookkeeping and accountancy and all that. So they're doing all that sort of stuff. They do all the VAT returns. Like literally, we just send them receipts and the rest is done.
Yeah, I feel
So,
like we're in the best place for Amazon now.
yeah. So now it's
Like all
like,
the admin stuff and kind of the boring stuff that we thought, well, the bits that we don't like, we've just outsourced to everybody else.
yeah. And the only next step from here is like we don't have a VA yet. We to be honest, we really should have had a VA a long time ago. I just I don't have the time to get a VA and then train them up in the way that I want them to. Like if I'm going to get a VA, I probably want them to do unique bundles, but
Yeah.
it means I have to sit down and train them on unique bundles for ages, and there's so many other things going on. It's just one of those things that we push back for ages, but that's kind of like the final piece of the puzzle, and then after that, effectively, like the business is basically maintaining itself,
Yeah.
which is a lovely place to be in, obviously.
Yeah. It's a kind of freedom that like nothing else really comes close to. Like is people think of Amazon, they think of like this money opportunity where they can make potentially a lot more than what they'd make in a standard job. But
Yeah,
just as good as that is having that kind of freedom as well. Something as big as like being able to travel the world while still being able to make money. And
yeah.
then to simple things like, oh, it's really nice today. I'll just go outside and like work outside today. Like
That
that
is
kind of
exactly
freedom.
that is
Yeah.
what it's all about for us. We enjoy it. Like the sun's been out in the UK for the past couple of weeks. It's not so much now, but let me tell you, as soon as the sun was out, outside at the table having morning coffees, we had every lunch meal out there. If it was like still light outside, we'll have dinner out there, get the barbecue on. Like outdoors, freedom, love it. Love anything like that. That's the drive for me anyway.
Yeah, and I think as well, because we're doing not as much now of the Amazon, but it is still maintaining itself, it's meant that we can put our focus into like the new business ventures. So with Top Dog, obviously, it's not earning us a full-time salary yet because it's brand new.
Mhm.
But we can put all the effort into that to grow it to, hopefully make a lot of money with it and make it to be a good product
Yeah.
without kind of worrying about it paying the bills.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's been a crazy journey, hasn't it? It's been
Yeah.
crazy. Never would have seen this coming, not in a million years, but wouldn't change it for the world, to be fair.
It feels like we've been on a mini journey, this entire session.
I know.
Yeah, it does feel like that, to be fair. We've been on a journey with BuyBotPro, though. You've been there right since the very start, pretty much, haven't you?
Yeah, we've never used any of software.
Yeah, literally never. And yeah. No, it's been right since the start. So I
Yeah.
think you reached out to us quite early on, didn't you?
Yeah,
Like
I think so. It's definitely been.
it was, yeah, you were
It's
early.
definitely been well over a year now.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I remember you asking to
I
pick up a
mean,
call with us, and we were like, "Oh my god, it's BuyBotPro!" And we were like, "I've got like 400 followers," and they were
and
like,
we had the first ever lifetime subscription to BuyBotPro with the competition.
"Yeah, with Luke Colwell, yeah. He just managed to get a lifetime subscription to
Yeah, yeah,
BuyBotPro, didn't he? That's quality.
yeah.
And
I think that's the only one we ever did like that. So yeah, we are bordering on about an hour now. So I would appreciate it if you guys could just drop like the last few words, like a nice little epilogue to everything that we've done this entire session. So, do you have any like last tips, last bits of key advice, any inspirational quotes, whatever it is that you want to throw out there, throw it out there.
Go on, do you want to go?
I mean, it's not an inspirational quote. I suppose it's just a message. But I think with Amazon, obviously, we're doing our numbers. Let's say we're doing 20K revenue. In the grand scheme of FBA, that is relatively small. Like there's people doing multiple figures per month. But actually, when you look back at how much you're earning, it's more than the average person is at work. And it's hard to kind of do that comparison. And you always think, oh, you're so small in the Amazon space. But if you
Mhm.
look at the bigger picture, you're doing really, really well.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, we're early 20s and I would say we're doing pretty well.
Yeah, too, right?
Yeah, and I think it's
It's
just a case of, not comparing yourself to other
yeah.
people and just keeping on your own journey, looking ahead and yeah, just keeping on going.
yeah, very nice. I think
For
my
as long as I've known you guys, I've always looked at you and thought, yes, they're doing well. Like I've never not thought otherwise.
Oh, okay. Well, that's lovely of you to say, to be fair. So thank you very much. I think for me, the biggest bit of advice I would have to anyone is consistency is key. That is what it's all about. It doesn't matter whether you don't want to do, if you want to do Amazon FBA, do Amazon FBA. If you want to do drop shipping, if you want to do marketing agencies, any of the side hustles, they do all work. But you're not going to see the instant results in like 3 to 5 months. Give yourself a good chunk of time, maybe 2 years, 3 years, work on it, stick at it, and you will see the results. Like that is all it comes down to. But most people are not willing to be consistent, particularly when the results aren't there. So in your first few months, you might think, oh, we lost some money or we didn't make that much. Oh, we'll just suck it in. If you do that, you're never going to get to the point where we're at now, where it's like we can do what we want when we want. We have teams who are dedicated to do things, and it only, it was only from the grinding and the graft at the very start of the journey, and putting up with like the just long days, long hours for not much reward. That is how you get to where you want to be to. That's my summary, my nutshell. Stay consistent.
Some awesome advice from some awesome people. I mean, thank you very much for having come on and done this with me and sharing your story with everyone. And a massive thank you to you who's watched this as well. You can check out all of the other Amazon Seller Journey sessions in this same playlist. I am going to link Hollie and Louie's TikTok in the description below. So if you want to find them and give them a follow, and I'm going to urge you to do so, it is the FBA couple. But as I say, I will link that in the description. Once again, guys, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having us, Matt. It's been
Thank
a pleasure.
And I will see you all very soon.
Cool. We'll see you soon.